How much passive income do you need? This is a question that I got from Eduardo. I don't want to mention his last name because I didn't get permission as always. So I got this question because he wants to invest in stocks, I believe. I forget. But he just kind of asked me, how much passive income do you need to live off of? And how could you get that through dividends specifically? So that's what I'm going to go through today. I'll give you just an off-the-cuff example. So you're going to need a lot more money than you think to live off dividends. So let's just say you have $100,000 invested in stocks. And if you are in high dividend stocks, you're probably making, I don't know, 5% in dividend, just in dividends, not including the value of the equity. So let's just say you make 5% in dividends per year. Does anyone know what the math on that is? So you've saved up to $100,000. You get $5,000 a year to live off of. That's it. That's not. You can't live off that unless you're living with your family or something, not paying rent, whatever. Then maybe you could live off that. Eat some noodles every day. So right there, as you can see, $100,000 in high dividend stocks is not going to get it done. What is your number, by the way? I guess I should ask that. What is the number in your head in terms of yearly income that you would need to just live off of and you would be comfortable? A lot of people, I actually saw this story in Washington Post? I forget where it was. But he saved up, it was something around $400,000. No, it was 500 actually. It was $500,000, I think. And he invested in dividends at about 5%. He was making about $25,000 a year. I think he was in his 30s actually. He was in his 30s, lived off a 5% dividend. He's been doing that for years and years and years now. We'll see what happens when a recession hits. But he made $25,000 a year and he was fine. That was his number. But he said he wasn't comfortably, he was comfortably living, but he couldn't afford any luxuries, obviously. $25,000 a year, that's close to, in certain areas in America, that's poverty. If you can't live in, downtown areas for $25,000 a year, even if you don't have any other expenses, apart from food and rent. Rent alone is going to kill you. So, $25,000 a year. And this applies to you too. If you have $500,000 saved up and put it in high dividend stocks, you're only making $25,000 a year. Is that good enough for you for a passive income? If you have a job or a business on top of that, this is fantastic. I would probably invest that $500,000 into your own business and not in stocks. But it's $25,000 a year. That's a lot of money. And that's not including equity. The value of the whole thing could go up to $600,000 in 1 year if you have a fantastic year, right? So my number for passive income is a little bit higher. We're gonna keep it at 5% because that's just standard. So I think that in order to be comfortable, not super happy or super, luxurious or anything, I think that most people would need $50,000 a year minimum, which is $1 million. So seriously, in the comments, what would be your number for you to be comfortable with on a passive income, for you to quit and retire? So you'd have $1 million saved up, and that would make you $50,000 a year, and you don't want to touch this. If I had $1 million, I'd invest it in my own business, 100%. But $50,000, $50,000 a year is pretty good. So there are higher dividend paying stocks. I've seen some that could go up to 10%, but those are a little more risky. They're at 10% for a reason. It's because they want to get people to invest in the company, right? They want to increase their value, so for a lot of reasons. So, I mean, I think 50 grand is what most people need to be comfortable. So at the end of the day, you're going to need like $1 million to live off of dividends, which is kind of insane. Although what's actually a funny story is that when I started learning about the stock market when I was around 14 years old, and I think up until I was about 16, my plan was to make enough money to live off dividends. And in my head, I wasn't really thinking I could invest that money elsewhere because I didn't really know that you could invest in your own business. I didn't know you could invest in real estate. Saying that if you invest in stocks, it's the easiest to physically invest into because it takes you like, it could take five seconds to physically do a trade. I mean, 2 minutes to set up your account. I mean, to go online, and then 5 seconds to make a trade. So it's really easy. But in real estate, it could take weeks of your time. It could take months of your time. And then it's an ongoing thing you have to look at to get tenants in and stuff. And your own business, obviously, that's 24/7. So it all depends, right? It depends on your lifestyle. But I swear, my plan when I was 16 years old, make a couple $1 million. I didn't even think about how I would make a couple $1 million. I was like, I'm going to make a few $1 million, and then I'm just going to live off dividends. I remember telling my girlfriend that at the time. Like, that's my plan. And then I didn't think about how do you make that $1 million in the first place. I think that's kind of funny. And the same thing happened with the real estate too. Like, I'm going to save up. It was, a little bit less, and I'm still kind of a little bit on it. But, I'm going to save up 80 grand and get a down payment on a multifamily home and just rent that out. And I'm going to get a few of those, and that's what I'm going to live off of. Okay, well, how are you going to save up 80 grand? Right? There's kind of the first step that I was missing the entire time. And so that's why, working in real estate now and working in Toronto and having my own business too and doing this online stuff too. I mean, YouTube pays me. YouTube pays me to do this. So it's just kind of funny. I think that the best thing you could do is invest in yourself first and then invest. It's great to invest in stocks and real estate. You're already ahead of the majority of the population if you do that. So it's just kind of funny. I wonder what your mindset is right now, actually, you listeners and you viewers. What's your number? What's your dividend number? I mean, what would be your passive income number for you to retire? And two, how are you going to build up enough of an investment base to get that passive income? What is your strategy right now? Are you going to just work full time, make hopefully 60 grand, 70 grand a year? And maybe less. A lot of you are going to make less than that. But is that your plan? And just save up 10 grand a year over, I don't know, a decade? You can waste a decade of your life? Huh? It's not a waste. I mean, a lot of people do that. Everyone does that. It's not for me. It's not for me. I can't do the employee life. But, maybe you guys can. Maybe it's good for you. I don't know. So I'd like to thank you very much for watching. As always, remember to check out my program in the link below, the Stock Market Mastery. It'll teach you everything you need to know about the stocks. If you're a beginner or intermediate level, if you're an expert, don't buy it because it's not expert level. I'll make another expert one in the future. Maybe. We'll see. And that's it. I'd like to thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Oh, almost dropped the marker.